Welcome to the league with your host, Benoy Thanjan. You might know me from the Solar Maverick podcast, and David McGee. Today it's June 5th, 2025. You give us 5 minutes, we give you the latest clean energy trends. I was actually last week at the American Council of Renewable Energy's Finance Forum, which was June 4th and 5th in New York City. The Solar Maverick podcast was one of the podcasts at the event, along with the Energy Gang. And this is one of the big finance conferences, other than InfoCast conference that they have in April, and as well as SIA has their finance and tax seminar in June, the biggest one for renewable energy. If you're not familiar with the American Council of Renewable Energy, or ACORE, they're one of the biggest lobbying groups for renewable energy. My company, Renew Energy, is a member of ACORE, and we're also selected in their first year of the ACORE Accelerate program, which is for admission for early and mid-stage clean energy companies. There was a lot of interesting topics that were talked about. The big topic that was talked about was the big beautiful bill and how that impacts clean energy. I know we've talked about this before, but it's creating a lot of uncertainty within the industry. And, right now, basically, the Senate is reviewing the House tax bill, and we think that there should be hopefully revisions on a positive side as far as the phase down of the investment tax credit that stimulated a lot of development of renewable energy, specifically the ITC with solar. It was interesting because Ray Long, who's the ACORE president, talked about how this could seriously weaken clean energy incentives. They're urging basically everyone in the renewable energy industry to call their senators and House of Representatives. The other thing, too, it's interesting. He also talked about during his speech how China is being ultra aggressive with building energy infrastructure and all types of energy. And they're also really pushing solar and storage because at the end of the day, right now, solar is the fastest energy resource that you could come online. Also, a big conversation was how corporates are using more energy and more data centers are being built. Obviously, everyone's talking about AI. So, the electricity demand in the US is going to be growing exponentially. It's been flat for a very long time, and we don't have the generation capacity to handle all this new electricity demand. So, people were wondering, why is there a step down in the incentives related to solar? Whereas if you talk about natural gas or nuclear, it's going to take a lot longer to build new baseload facilities. And, that's obviously everyone's talking about, manufacturing and tariff challenges. It's just very confusing to really know exactly what pricing is because of the tariffs. And then also in the House bill, there's some language related to foreign entities of concern. And obviously, solar is assembled in the US, but a lot of the key components are actually produced in China. And that's the same with battery storage. And if you're not going to allow potentially the ITC because of foreign uh, countries, specifically China, which was mentioned at the ACORE Finance Forum, it'll obviously, that's kind of like a poison pill in the bill and has a lot of investors worried. So it was a really interesting conference. I actually, on the Solar Maverick podcast, interviewed Ray Long, the CEO of ACORE. We're going to be releasing that interview shortly, and also the CEO of EDPR, and they will also provide more clarity and a longer form interview about the many interesting discussions that happened at the ACORE Finance Forum. And that's that.
Benoy, great topic. I'm actually really excited to listen to both of those podcast interviews on the Solar Maverick. So we're looking forward to checking those out.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm excited about your topics because it translates to what I was talking about as well and continuing that discussion.
Without a doubt, love the continuity. So going along with that strategy, life after the ITC, something that most of us do not want to hear. And a lot of us are hoping for the best with the current scenario, understanding that when this goes to the Senate, there is possibilities of other outcomes not as grim as the way that the bill currently looks. I am going to speak, about life after the ITC, whether it's in the next, 45 days, 60 days, or whether that's the next couple of years. We're going to look at each segment, looking at the utility scale segment. Markets are going to start shifting. It's a bloodbath out there. A lot of folks are unfortunately not going to survive. Looking at some of these markets, efficiencies are going to have to occur. Utility scale solar expectations, or we're going to be really focusing development on markets with high capacity factors, projects built with scale, looking to optimize and take advantage of high PPA pricing. So think of areas such as Nevada, your ERCOT Texas market, Colorado. Let's look at opportunities that are 30 plus capacity factor and really designed efficiently. Looking at the residential market, which we'll get into a little more detail. There, we're going to start focusing on a lot of efficiencies with customer acquisition, which is traditionally taken up 50, 60, 70 cents per watt. Those days are done. And without a doubt, we need to be looking at a more efficient market after this ITC. 30% is huge. It can be done. It can be done with smart, effective measures. Going into the next topic and segue, we're just going to be really doing a nice outline of the general market conditions. Unfortunately, we've heard some devastating news. Sonova, Mosaic, both folks that have done a really great amount of work, for the solar industry and really expanding it in that residential sector. Bankruptcy, very unfortunate. And unfortunately, this is just the start. We're going to be going through very challenging times, through this. We are still, recovering from high interest rates, dealing with tariff uncertainty, dealing with the reconciliation bill. All of this at once is a big hit for the industry to take, and it requires us, to be resilient, innovative, to move forward. Next item, looking in general with the energy market, is natural gas. What we're seeing right now is lots of consolidation occurring, going along with Benoy's theme, the fact that solar energy is the quickest lead times. I'm not going to talk about natural gas, about how you can't buy turbines till 2030, but we are going to talk about with natural gas is the price to actually build from an EPC standpoint, and building new natural gas power plants is not economical, which has really driven up evaluations for platform companies and existing, operating facilities to be sold. All these general dynamics, what they result in, higher PPA pricing. Higher PPA pricing then is going to bring us, to be able to innovate in other technologies, solar storage, maybe smaller natural gas, facilities, ways to really facilitate and take advantage of the market. There are amazing opportunities right now. There's blood on the streets. We have not seen the solar market go for this for a very, very long time, if at all. Requires everyone to be diligent, sharp, keep everything tight, and that's that. You've just enjoyed 5 minutes of the absolute best information in the clean tech sector. Hit like, put a comment, and make sure you subscribe. Thank you.
Thank you.